Hello there, YouTube. So this is going to be my duty belt setup. So I work armed security, so nothing too crazy. I haven't had to deal with anything too crazy, but this is my setup, and this is just as a if you're looking to set up your own belt, a starting off point. Now what you need is almost certainly going to be different than what I need. I'm doing this video right now because I actually think I'm going to buy a new belt and set it up a bit differently. So I'll probably be doing another video once I do that. But also, so keep in mind how the belt is set up right now is pretty sparse. I've had some other things on there. I'll go into what has been on there and what's been taken off. The reason it's set up how it is now is just, when I first got it and started working, I put stuff on there that I thought I would need, and then the more you work in a situation, the more you realize, well, I don't need this, and maybe I need this, maybe I don't need that. I'm actually filming this at work, so I don't have any of the extra attachments to show you. So if you want to look them up, you'll just have to look them up. But we'll get into it. So probably can't show the whole thing off too well in frame how I have this, but so this belt is a Bianchi Patrol Tech belt. This is going to be the best budget belt you can get. Don't quote me on this, but they're somewhere around 40-50 bucks, right? There are much better belts. Don't get me wrong, but you're going to be paying 130, 140 and up, right? Like the blue Alpha Gear belts are really good. I think they're running around $130, $140 right now. Ronin belts are really good. I think they're like $200. HSGI makes a really good belt. It's like $220, right? So if you're just looking to get a belt, the Patrol Techs are good. There are rip-offs of some of those more tactical belts with the Micro Molle and the Cobra buckles and stuff like that are cheap. They will not be as good as this belt. I can guarantee you that. So either get the Bianchi or pay the money for the Blue Alpha, the Ronin, the HSGI, there's a billion of them, right? But yeah, don't buy belts that look like those belts that are the price of this belt. You will be sadly disappointed. This has a female line Velcro, the hook line, which isn't the best. I actually think that for the belt, you probably would want this is loop, sorry. You probably want the hook, the male, because it lasts longer. The inner belt is the one that Bianchi sells is cheap. I don't know how much, 10 bucks, 15 bucks, I don't know. They work okay. There's better setups, but it works good. If you're sitting down a lot or getting up, getting down, sitting down a lot, I suggest putting maybe still using two belt keepers with you and putting them in the back. This is near the back of the belt for me, because this stuff will pull up on it and the Velcro will pull up. But with the belt keepers, it's locked in there. You don't really need to put belt keepers anywhere else. You can if you want, but yeah. And if you don't get a Velcro line belt, you'll need belt keepers. You'll probably want at least 4 belt keepers. They usually sell in packs of 4, but you might even want more. I really suggest the Velcro, though, plus additional belt keepers if you're going to be seated a lot, like getting in and out of a car, in and out of chairs, maybe you're working front desk somewhere or whatever. Velcro plus belt keepers is the way to go. So we'll start over here. I have 3 Glock mags in S-Tac Kiwis. One of these is a double, and then there's a single. So yeah, this is a double shingle here, and then this is a single. I feel 3 mags is a good amount. 3 extra mags is a good amount. I was carrying 4 extra mags. I was carrying 2 double Safariland mags, and they're the Safariland mags that instead of bullet forward, they have them bullet out, which I have done training and qualifications with those, and I never had a problem with the reload on the tip out mags. The problem is that 4 of them, 4 tips out is taking up slightly more belt space than these 3 tip forwards. Not much more, but slightly more. And it's getting heavy. Do you really need 4 extra pistol mags? I don't know, I didn't think so, but I did think I wanted more than 2, right? They do make, those Safarilands do make a triple tip out. The problem with that, I have one. That's what I bought first because I wanted 3 mags. The problem with that is where the retention is. So not on the S-Tacs, but on the Safariland tip out ones, they have retention screws in between each mag, whereas the double just has one right there. So on the triple, if you tighten it down enough that these guys are perfect retention, this middle one's going to be crushed in there, and it's going to be super stiff to get out. Or vice versa, if your middle one's perfect retention, your 2 outer ones are going to be super light. So getting the retention on the triple is a little rough. That's why I moved to the 2 doubles, and then I was just like, screw it, I'm going to get better mags. So the S-Tac Kiwis. HSGI tacos are good. I don't like all the dangly shock cord on them, and they're kind of expensive for what they are. The G-Code Scorpions, I have some knockoffs of those, and I actually like them. Again, you get some dangly shock cord, but it's not quite as bad as the tacos. Excuse me. I like the Kiwis. They're all right. The retention's a little meh on them. You see people online sometimes saying that they're too tight, too loose. Some say they're just right. I think they're a little loose. I didn't actually know this. But anyway, so how these work, you have a nylon shell, and then you have like a V cup of Kydex, and then there's Velcro in there. So they're Velcroed in, and this Kydex insert here, and that's where your retention comes from. So if you have a heat gun, you can adjust retention on these Kydex pieces. You can kind of heat up a little bit and squish it a little bit tighter, or heat up a little bit and expand it a little bit, depending on the retention you need. These are just a little, I feel like the retention is a little light. I bought a AR one also, and that retention is almost too tight. So you might need to play around with it, but I do like that they have very good attachment options, and then I like that I don't have a bunch of shock cord dangling around like you do with the tacos and the Scorpions and whatever. There's other ones that are all right too. Moving around here so this is normally in my back. This is just a small compact glove case. This holds, I don't know, there's probably 4 pairs of gloves in there. Then I have a little more forward. Well, okay, so then coming around to the right side, a little bit behind the gun, this is OC spray. This is Defensive Technologies Mark III, 360 degrees, 1.3% major capsaicinoids, and it should be a stream and not a cone-shaped mist, but yeah, it's a stream. So where was it? Saber is also a good one. The Saber was it Crossfire, I think, or Crossstream, something like that, is a good OC. Some things to consider: don't get gel or foam unless your work makes you get gel or foam, because they don't work that good. Probably don't get cone-shaped mist either. Stream is really what you want. Ignore anything that talks about Scoville units. Ignore anything that talks about capsaicin percent. Like a lot of them will say 10% capsaicin. That's the amount of mix compared to propellant, right? And it's almost always 10%. Look at the major capsaicinoid percent. So, and you want somewhere between 1% and 2%. A lot of them cap out at 2% because that's the legal limit in some states. So the big companies just they stop it there as whatever. Some you see go over into like 3%. Okay, fine, whatever. But I would say Defensive Technologies at time of filming, Defensive Technologies or Saber Red for a duty OC. I do like Palm OC for like a everyday carry OC, but they only make the little pocket ones, right? They don't make a bigger duty size OC, as far as I know, at the time of filming. Definitely stay away from Fox. Do not buy Fox. They have a chemical propellant in them that is very nasty. It's a major carcinogen. And last time I looked up to their MSDS, it still was their propellant. And then I tried to look it up again. I got into kind of an argument online that might have got kind of big. And then when I tried looking up their, or not MSDS, SDS now, their SDS or MSDS or any of that, it had been taken down from every site. Like, it was even leading to pages about it being taken down. So, which, as far as I know, is illegal for them to take down their SDS data about their chemicals. But, and so maybe you're saying, well, I don't care if I spray somebody in the face with it and they get cancer in 20 years. Okay, but all pepper spray, OC spray, has expiration dates on it. Now, the reason it has expiration dates on it is because that's as long as they can guarantee that you will have enough propellant in here to spray it. Meaning your propellant is perpetually leaking out of your can, right? There's nothing you can do about it. Your propellant is always going to be slowly leaking out of your cans. Now, if the propellant of your OC is carcinogenic and it's sitting next to you 40 plus hours a week, every day for years, or every week for years, do you want that like horrible carcinogen leaking out next to you 48 plus hours a week, 52 weeks a year, for however many years? Probably not. You're talking more of a risk to you than anybody you have to use it to on. So I highly suggest you don't buy that brand as of filming, unless they change their formulation, which they seem more interested in hiding that information than actually changing their formulation. So fuck them, right? Rant over. All right, and then this is my firearm. All right, this is Glock 17 Gen 4. It is in a Safariland. The exact model, I don't know. This is an SLS system. I think most people would actually be better served with the ALS system, right? So the ALS system, there's no hood here, it's just the button. This is a thing, if you think you're going to be carrying your firearm open, in full view of people, you really need something with retention. And you really, as of filming and probably even the near future, there is no real good substitute for a Safariland, right? There's some Blackhawks that are cheaper. I really don't think you should buy them. Not only is their system a little more prone to people shooting themselves on the draw, usually their attachment points are real flimsy. You can watch videos of people just ripping Serpa holsters off of people because the plastic's thin and fragile, and you can just rip the whole holster off of them and then deal with the retention later, right? So I really suggest Safariland. There's a reason it's kind of the industry standard for retention holsters. Yeah. I can't even think of any other brand that would come close that I would consider recommending. If you are working out in the public, you need a retention holster. Right at the range, for my Glock 19, I have a Ragnarok that can just slip onto this. That's all fun and good out at the range. But for retention, you want Safariland. You probably want the ALS, not the SLS. But, what are you going to do? So that comes down. It's all good. There are a few benefits. I think some people poo-poo on the SLS a little quickly. There are some benefits to it over the ALS, but there are plenty of benefits of the ALS over the SLS, right? It is on a QLS system. So this is nice for a couple reasons. One, you can swap out, like I said, I have a Ragnarok for my Glock 19 on the same male hook. So I can just, if I want to run the Glock 19, I just pull this off, slip this on, good to go. I don't have to deal with threading this around the belt and blah, 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 blah. Another good thing for a duty holster is that it pushes it off your body. Now, if you're trying to do some sort of outside the waistband conceal carry, that's not what you want, right? Because it's going to print more. But this is pushing it further away from you, so you have less obstruction with your drop and reholster. Because you might have to reholster this more so than like a concealed carry guy. This is a low ride. I'm kind of tall. I also have kind of a long leg hip area, so this is actually probably sitting closer to where like a mid ride on an average size person would. So if you're more average height, I would say maybe go with a mid ride. The strap is very nice. So the strap, so if you have the QLS system, right, it's nice in a lot of ways, but it does bring up a problem of it really torques, and you can bind your gun up a little bit. I don't think you're like not going to be able to clear it, but it might bind up a little bit on the draw. But with the addition of the strap, it holds it in close enough that you have no problems with that at all. So, excuse me. So the strap, if you do the QLS, if you mounted it directly without the QLS to the low drop, might be fine to a mid or low ride. The mid ride, definitely, or high ride, you don't need the strap. It's pretty solid. If you do the QLS, the strap is pretty much a necessity. I have a high ride, I don't know what they call it, just the normal belt one with a QLS on it, and it's a little floppy because of the QLS. Whereas if you mount it directly to it, it's pretty solid. So keep that in mind. If you do the QLS, you probably want a strap, and you need at least a mid ride probably for the strap to actually fit around your leg. If you have a high one, it's not going to do that. It's also nice because on my vest I have another attachment, a female attachment. So if I'm sitting, like if I'm getting into especially a small car, this becomes a bit of an issue. Or sometimes chairs. So I can just pull the whole holster off and I can stick it right on my vest, which is not a bad spot to have it in like a vehicle. Okay. Not only is it more comfortable, you can actually draw it. But yeah, so I mean, I have 4 things on my belt, right? Gun, ammo, OC, and gloves. I did have more. Some of you might be saying, "Where's your medical kit?" I've already actually even filmed the video for the medical kit. It does not go on my belt. I explain why in that video. Some other things. I used to carry handcuffs on here, right? I don't really plan on handcuffing anybody anymore. I just, in thinking about it, and I was working for a big security company for a couple years, and the amount of handcuffing that happened company-wide was very, very small. You're just opening yourself up to more risk, like a risk of being injured, risk of being sued, risk of being, are you actually handcuffing legally, detaining this person legally, kind of you might see criminal charges, civil suits, it's, right, so if you're fighting with somebody, they haven't gone lethal or anything like that, and they run away, whatever, right? It's not our place to stop them from doing that. If they run away, that's probably one of the best situations that can happen, because they're no longer a threat, right? You OC them, they're on the ground rolling around, whatever. Cool, just let them roll around, right? If you have to go lethal and you shoot them and they run off, well, obviously you can't handcuff them, let them go. If you shoot them and they collapse on the ground, then you should probably just cover them with your gun until police arrive, right? You don't want to try to handcuff them and they pull out and they still have their gun and they shoot you, right? Or they pull out a knife and stab you, right? So for the most part, I don't feel the need to handcuff. On my vest, I do have flex cuffs just in case, because they're light and they're small and they're out of the way. I did have a double cuff case with one pair of hinged and one pair of chains on it. If you think you are going to be doing handcuffing, I suggest skipping the chain, go with 2 hinges, because as a if you're doing private security, I should say. Because private security, so for handcuffing, generally police will carry at least two, a hinged and a chain. That's where I got the idea. And the concept is you use chains for compliant handcuffing and a hinged cuff for non-compliant handcuffing, right? If they're fighting you, because you can get a better leverage on it. As long as you can get one hasp on, you can use the whole cuff as now like leverage to do wrist lock or whatever. You can control the arm better, whereas you can't do that with chain cuffs. So if they're fighting you, use the hinge cuffs. If they're compliant, you arrest them and they're like, oh, okay, whatever, and they put their hands behind their back. You use the chains. As a private citizen, you don't do a compliant cuffing. If you're like, you are under arrest for trespassing, and put your hands behind your back, and they say yeah, you just don't do that, right? If you are handcuffing somebody, it's probably going to be non-compliant cuffing. So just get the hinges. But I don't see a lot of reason to actually be handcuffing people. What else? I had a baton on here. It's just more weight, gets in the way. I do keep the baton on my vest. I'm going to make a video on the vest. Not even for its intended purpose. It's, if you get itchy, especially while wearing a vest, collapsible baton is a very good collapsible back scratcher. OC is the good, less lethal. I feel comfortable calling OC non-lethal. I think most people are as well. About the only time anything bad happens with OC is if it uses a flammable propellant and then somebody hits them with a taser and they catch on fire. That's pretty bad. But I don't have a taser either. I mean, I would carry one if my company bought one for me, but I'm not going to go out and buy a taser myself. The good ones cost 3 times the price of that, right? They don't work unless the leads connect good, both of them. So I'm not going to go out and buy it. I'd probably buy a pepper ball gun before a taser, honestly. Well, so I did have a medical kit on my belt for a while. That was very awful. I've known some people that keep rocking them. I don't know how they do it. I think they just think they need it on their belt, and it's just so bad. Hurts your back so much. And it seems like it might cause permanent back damage, chronic back pain from doing that. You could maybe put a small knife on here. The TDI, I have a video on the TDI. So what you would do there is you'd actually hook that to your underbelt somewhere around your mag area. So it would be kind of in between the mags in your body. You could get to the TDI. Doing security, you probably don't want a giant fixed blade dangling off you. It's not super professional. It's not kind of industry standard. Some tips though. So you see people, they do belt reviews and they talk about, oh, I need X belt or X attachments because I want as much Velcro real estate as possible. And it's true, you do want as much Velcro real estate as possible. The thing is that these people don't think of, now this is a security and police trick, people who actually wear duty belts professionally, they have to wear them all day, is you can attach Velcro anywhere you want, basically, right? This Velcro on this pouch was not there, right? That is cheap, it's not Velcro brand, it's just, hook and loop stuff from Amazon, adhesive backed, right? So I just stuck some Velcro, cut a piece of Velcro off, stuck it into this pouch. So now that whole, what is that, 4x2, 5x2 maybe area, that was not being attached by Velcro is now engaging with Velcro. You could even cut little strips off and put them on this. That would work pretty good. And then my cuff case, I had it on there, right? Attach Velcro here so that sticks. That's also why the belt is fed through that way. I've heard some people say it should be fed through the other way. I think it should be fed through this way, honestly. Because this curve then fits with your hip better, and you just put the Velcro there and you're good to go. So anything, I had Velcro on this, it didn't stick very good to that. But also, I just lazily put, sticky back Velcro on there. If you really want, you can sew Velcro onto that, right? So don't be afraid, don't limit yourself to a specific belt, like a micro Molly belt, because you want to attach everything with Molly to increase Velcro space because you can add as much Velcro space as you want. That's the easiest thing in the world to do. Double-sided Velcro, or adhesive-backed Velcro is, you know, you can attach it to anything. So, I'm trying to think if I had anything else on this belt. Because I know there was a time where I just had, oh yeah, you know, I had flashlights attached to the belt, big flashlight, a big mag light. That was when I was unarmed. I did the big mag light. I did have a smaller light on this belt, but then I just kind of keep that in my pocket now or on my vest. But yeah, so and like I said, it'll differ depending on what you need, right? If you're in a state and at a location where you are handcuffing people a lot, then you might want 4 pairs of handcuffs on you, maybe, right? You're very violent, like a mall. So I don't know about anymore, but like across the country and how it is. But so one of my malls used to be a very violent place. So security there used to get into it a lot, right? So if that was the kind of situation where you're working, then maybe you want a bigger, Mark IV OC thing, right? Or 2 of them, or a big fogger, right? Because you might having to be OC multiple people in a week, right? Yeah, so it'll differ on what you're doing. And also your size too, right? So like the bigger around you are, the bigger your belt is, so the more stuff you can put on your belt, right? Spoilers, so my next belt, I think I'm just going to throw AR mags on anyways, even though I don't carry an AR at work, just so it's kind of a more multi-purpose belt. But I could probably get away with 3 handgun and 2 ARs. I'm probably going to move down to 2 handgun and 2 ARs. But, if you're real small, that might start getting your belt might start getting a little cluttered. Things to think of, right? So this is just a starting off point. Maybe some ideas you could use or some tips like, oh, maybe I won't go buy handcuffs because I probably won't need handcuffs, right? The double handcuff pouch is a real pain in the ass. I might even go, if you do want handcuffs and you want 2 pair, maybe get 2 single cuff cases. Small ones, some sort of small case like the HSGI case, or like a real nice compact case. The double and the nylon was so fat and so heavy in one spot of the belt. This belt's so much lighter than it used to be. Even with the gun on it, this belt is like, yeah. So another consideration to keep is to try to keep a similar weight per side. Otherwise it'll feel real weird, just daily use. So 3 mags on the left side, and then the gun and a mag on the right side is close in weight. The gun is still, with the holster, it's still a little heavier on the right side. But if you also had cuffs, especially cuffs, or a big light on the left side, stuff like that, you might start outweighing your right side. Or you put your cuffs on the right side. Now your right side is way heavier than your left side, right? Or you run two extra mags on the left, and you have cuffs over on the right, and your OC over on the right, and a baton. Well, most people put the baton on the left, but some people actually do run their batons on the right behind their gun right here. Balance, right? Try to keep the weight somewhat balanced on it. But there you go. Just have fun with it. The biggest thing, just don't overload it, right? It's very uncomfortable. Yeah, you can take things off, but keep to the things that are important, right? If you're armed, the gun is going to be very important. Feeding the gun is going to be very important. Less lethal, which I think should be OC, is going to be very important. And then gloves, you're probably always going to want nitrile gloves on you because you just don't want to touch biohazard contaminants, right? So I have gloves there. I have gloves in my med kit. I have gloves in, or I don't have gloves in my pocket anymore. But when I worked in a more public setting, less of a secured facility, more of a public setting, I carried just a wad of gloves in a cargo pocket, just because there's always a kid stubbing their toe or an elderly person, unfortunately, slipping and falling and they're bloody and stuff like that. So that's the base. And then really assess if you need more than that, right? Maybe your company makes you carry a baton. I'm sorry, you're never going to use it. It's just weight. It is a back scratcher, though. There you go. Maybe they make you carry a taser. A taser, like I said, a taser might be fine if they pay for it. Don't buy your own taser, especially not like the good ones. They have the EDC civilian one that's like, it's still like $400 or $500 and like $80 a cartridge to reload it. But the good like duty tasers are $1,000, $1,500, something like that. I can't remember. I haven't priced them in a while. They were $1,500 the last time I looked at them. Yeah. All right. Thank you.